Hi, everybody, and welcome to week 2 of Golden Fruit. We technically are in week 2, but we're really going to be looking at the notes for week 1, just so there's no confusion about that. But today we're going to be talking about love. So we're going to begin by looking at the qualities of love. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the various types of love. And then we'll be studying Ruth as an example of these different types of love and some of these qualities of love. So turn to 1 Corinthians chapter 13 in your Bible. And we're going to look at the various qualities of love and come to understand that a little bit better. So starting in verse 1, Paul writes, "If I speak in the tongues of men and angels, but have not love, I'm a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to move mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. If I give away all I have and I deliver up my body to be burned, but have not love, I gain nothing. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. As for prophecies, they will pass away. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part, as we prophesy in part. But when the perfect comes, the partial will pass away. When I was a child, I spoke like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I gave up childish ways. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I have been fully known. So now faith, hope, and love abide, these three. But the greatest of these is love." So I'd like you to take a moment and tease away at the qualities of love that Paul talks about here. What is love supposed to look like? What qualities and traits is love supposed to manifest, right? And we know that love is not just a feeling and it's not just a concept. It is an action. So it's meant to be acted upon. So what should our love look like? Take a moment, look at verses 4 through 8, and I want you to start to kind of jot down the various qualities of love that are mentioned here. You can pause me at any time and then come back and rejoin me. Now that you've done that, go to verse 13, and it tells us, so now faith, hope, and love abide, these three, but the greatest of these is love. So here we come to understand that the greatest of all of our faith, hope, and everything is wrapped up in love. It is the most important thing. And it tells us in this verse that we could be able to speak in tongues. We could have the gifts of prophecy. We could understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and have faith that even moves mountains. But if we don't have love, we have nothing. So this just paints a picture for us of how important love is and why we're studying it and what the qualities of love look like. So take a moment and kind of sit with that. And then you can rejoin me where we start to look at the intro for our study on page 6, where it says, week 1, the love of Ruth. It says, when you hear the word love, what comes to mind? Perhaps a favorite song drifts into your consciousness from somewhere in the past, from some enchanted evening, from the movie South Pacific to Elvis's Love Me Tender. Songwriters and singers have been expressing their own ideas of love down through history. Poets such as Elizabeth Barrett Browning and Lord Byron have expressed their feelings of love in beautifully written language. That's not to mention the depiction of love in movies, books, and television shows. Our understanding of love is often influenced by our entertainment. Perhaps the word love calls to mind other family members, children, parents, sisters, or brothers and grandchildren, or showing love through the giving of cards and gifts on holidays such as Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, or Father's Day. Maybe you're an animal lover and love your pet. Do you love chocolate or popcorn or candy bars? We can love almost anything, can't we? Researchers have identified 6 types of love, and I'm going to add one more. Eros involves romance and passion. So it's a kind of love that we see in the Song of Songs written by King Solomon. Ludus is uncommitted love, so it's more like lust. Storge refers to a slow developing friendship-based love. It's also called an empathy bond. Pragma love is practical, mutually beneficial relationship. Mania is an obsessive, jealous love. Agape is a gentle, giving, unconditional type of love. So this is the love that God displays toward Christ and his people, and the love that we are called to display toward one another as followers of Christ. And then we also have phileo love, and this would be friendly love or brotherly love. So think in terms of the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. It comes from the same root word as phileo. And so there are 4 types of love that are expressed in the Bible specifically, and that would be storge, phileo, eros, and agape. And agape is the most divine, the most powerful. And it's also the type of love that is mentioned here in 1 Corinthians 13, where we started to flesh out all the qualities of love. So as you dive into the questions, keep that framework and understanding of what the qualities of love are, and then the various types of love. And you can complete the questions on page 7 and page 8. Then we're going to talk about the fruit of Ruth. So I'll give you the introduction for the fruit of Ruth, and then you can go ahead and answer those questions as well. And so this comes from Ruth chapter 1, verses 6 through 18. And it says, "Then Naomi arose with her daughters-in-law to return from the country of Moab. For she had heard in the fields of Moab that the Lord had visited his people and given them food. So she set out from the place where she was with her 2 daughters-in-law, and they went on the way to return to the land of Judah. But Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, 'Go, return each of you to her mother's house. May the Lord deal kindly with you as they have dealt with the dead and with me. The Lord grant that you may find rest, each of you in the house of her husband.' Then she kissed them and lifted up their voices and wept. And they said to her, 'No, we will return with you to your people.' But Naomi said, 'Turn back, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Have I yet sons in my womb that they may become your husbands? Turn back, my daughters. Go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say I have hope, even if I should say I have a husband this night and should bear sons, would you therefore wait until they were grown? Would you therefore refrain from marrying? No, my daughters, for it is exceedingly bitter for me, for your sake, that the hand of the Lord has gone out against me.' Then they lifted up their voices and wept again. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her. And she said, see, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. Return after your sister-in-law." But Ruth said, "Do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you. For where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts me from you." And when Naomi saw that she was determined to go with her, she said no more. So go ahead and answer the questions that are presented, and then sit with the very last question at the end. What did you learn from this story and from your time in study? I pray that God blesses your time abundantly, that he reveals to you different aspects and qualities of his love, different types of love, and that you get to see through the example of Ruth what she displayed in terms of love and how these women loved one another so fully and so beautifully. God bless you all, and I'll see you next week.